Chrissy. I'm a little late this morning, not because of anything, but my gadget. So we're off to a brilliant start, and well, I think it's great. If we're sitting here discussing the week, it's obvious that you made it. So high five yourself to making it through another week and supporting you and the people you love and all the rest of the planet that keeps knocking at your door, which actually kind of leads me to where I wanted to be today because, well, honestly, you can never tell what's going to knock at the door, right? Like you have no idea, um, whatever's coming next, whether that's something with the person you love or something with yourself or whatever. You're just as much as we want to forecast and see things coming, yeah, we're never going to be able to do that, especially with this stuff because there's nothing predictable. There's nothing you could have thought of before because most of the stuff that happens is so far past anything we can imagine that you just can't get ready for it. Okay. So I did a session this week that was amazing, wonderful, amazing ladies. I learned a lot. I learned a lot because it seems that when emergencies happen, we somehow can and do backtrack every single interaction, every single thing we thought, every single thing. And we can always, just let me say always, find a place where we coulda, shoulda, woulda, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You're never going to be short of finding those places because you're looking for those places. Does that make sense? So we do that, I think, as an immediate reaction to back to that protective reaction that we talked about that comes first, right? Like we're gonna do that because we feel we should have protected that person or did something different or said something different and should have done something different. And what I discovered this week, that's a very normal human thing to do. What isn't so normal to do is to carry that with you, is to carry it with you like it's some kind of, I don't know. I don't think punishment is it. I think it's something we carry around with us because somehow we think it explains why things happen. I think we think back to we think, right? It brings some logic and reasoning to it. And most times that initial protective story out of the gate isn't ever really going to serve anyone. So I think what I further learned from all that was that one of the ways we can look at that story, and I think this is really important, is we can look at it through the lens of those woulda, coulda, shouldas. I think we should look at it as kind of through the lens of that circle of control. I mean, we've talked about it a few times. So that circle of control basically has three layers, okay? The middle circle is all the things you 1000% can control, okay? Like, people say our attitudes, blah, 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 whatever, that always loses me right there. But we can control somewhat of the things that are going on around us, right? Then there's some things that go into the next circle. That circle is the place that you can influence things, okay? That's the place all you can do is influence things, okay? So back to the shoulda, woulda, coulda's, maybe you could have influenced that, but the reality of the situation is and the gravity of the situation is that it wouldn't have really mattered what you said because probably that person wouldn't have been able to hear you. If we see something we recognize, very little times when it's happening to the person it's happening, we don't see hardly any logic and reasoning, right? And but yet we will somehow logic and reasoning like that person would have listened to us, like 2 months ago when we said something. And the reality is we don't get to a different place in some until some kind of event happens, and people don't change until they're forced to change. So when somebody's struggling with something we can't understand, or we think we should have been able to do something different, I want you to look at that lens through: what could I have controlled, what could I have influenced? And the next layer is, of that outer layer, those are things we can't control at all. So we spend probably 90% of our time in those places that we can't control and making up crazy things. Hey, look at my buddies here this morning. Can you say hi? Hi. Hi. Okay, Grandma's gonna finish. I'll be right in. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. So we spend a lot of time in that circle outside where we have zero control. And that's where all the stories come from. The stories of the woulda, coulda, shouldas. These are the things that we catastrophize. These are the stories that we make up that are we're certain that are going to be horrible, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then following up with that, what I've talked about before, 93% of that stuff does not happen at all, right? Studies show that. And of the 7% of things that do happen, less than 2% of those things actually even come close to being as bad as we thought it was, right? The other 5% is just like maybe it takes on a version, but it never reaches the full gumption that we gave it in the first place, right? So I say this because I'm hoping that when you can come out of your emotional brain from whatever just happened, or whatever that story is that keeps playing in your head about something you should have done, you could have done, I wish I would have, I wish I could have. I want you to ask yourself this follow-up question when you're able to, okay? What about that situation could I have influenced? What about that situation could I have controlled? And if the answer to those things are none of it, then what needs to happen for you to be able to release that and let that go? Because that's one of the things, you chuck it in the bucket, right? That's the chuck it bucket. The would haves, the should haves, everybody else's opinions, all those other things. Because if we don't chuck it in the bucket, we put it in our backpack and we carry it around with us. And so when we carry around our backpack and we never examine what's in the backpack, as far as, sweet Jesus, what did I put in here that is so damn heavy? It's your mental backpack, it's your emotional backpack. And if we never really unpack it and really understand what's in there and what's serving us and what's not serving us, it's really hard to release some of that and let it go. Because, well, honestly, at this point, we've just gotten used to holding on to it because, I don't know, somehow it makes you feel comfortable. Like, I don't really know, I don't really get it, but we do that. And I think it's because our protective brain has the best of intentions, but it also only really knows how to punish us sometimes, how to just identify the things that we should have done, would have done, could have done, right? And this becomes very important, and I'm seeing it on the professional side as well. Like, if you, like, take an internet explorer, right? And I kind of talked about this before, and you take all the tabs that are open in your explorer, like your brain is an internet explorer. So you open a tab for your daily routines, right? There's a tab for that. There's a tab for um whatever, appointments, blah, 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 blah. But there's always a few tabs that are like you were watching a movie and you paused it and they just keep spinning in the background and you never close that window. And that is the stuff that continues to take our capacity. And I really think that it's our capacity that moves us from reacting to responding. And what was kind of interesting yesterday was people can't even tell the difference sometimes until you show them there is a difference in how they react and how they respond to themselves and all good things like that. Um, I really think this whole thing for me has been like I'm helping you just turn around and see it from a different perspective, right? I mean, we're used to beating ourselves up. We're programmed to do that. We can also reprogram ourselves, create new brain waves, new connections that actually help us create a different story out of that protective story instead of one that kicks our own booties, because we don't need that. We do that enough. So I'm gonna attach a backpack activity that I came up with because I think that we really don't take enough time to actually take and examine what actually is in our backpack, right? So a rock could be something heavy you're carrying, right? Or your rock could be your faith, right? The faith that whatever happens, I don't know, whatever that tells you, right? So heavy things can be good things and can be bad things, but the thing is that when something starts going wrong, it feels like everything is going wrong, and we have a hard time finding those things that bring us peace and relief and all those things. So this activity kind of walks you through a few different ways to think about things, a way to unpack your backpack, and see exactly what you're carrying around and why you're carrying it around, right? Um, but you can't do that while you're already hijacked, right? If you are currently reacting to everything instead of responding, my first suggestion is to sit down and breathe through it. And I mean, and I'm not even kidding. I used to hate when people say that, right? I used to hate it. But gosh dang it, it's pausing for your cause. You have to do that. Otherwise, somebody's going to go to jail. You don't want that. That's not the goal. That's not the assignment, right? So anyway, I hope this activity kind of helps you. I did put it together for staff, so you might find a couple places like, what do you hurdle on the way into work? You may see that, but I want you to think about, what do you have to mentally hurdle the minute you get out of bed to get ready for the day as a caregiver, because well, we don't have to get ready and go to work and jump the hurdles on our way to work. We wake up to our work. So I think it's good, because if you the first thing you tell yourself in the morning is that you're stressed and overwhelmed, whole day is going to go like that, because what you just told your amygdala is danger, danger, danger. There's stuff going on, and well, you better shut down. Protection, right? That's where that protection thing comes from. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I'll put that out there. It's a PDF. I hope you can get to it. I hope it works for you. So yeah, and if you have any questions or reactions or thoughts or anything, I would simply really love to hear those. So, and if you do actually find something that you're woulda, shoulda, coulda yourself, I want you to think about, or if you think you haven't done enough, there's always that really incredibly important follow up question of, what does enough look like? If you would have done enough, what would that have looked like? Do you see what I'm saying? Because back to, you could have passed that crap like 5 years ago and you don't even know it, and you're still beating yourself up. So, any hoosers, I hope this is helpful. Today's joke: what do you call dental x rays? Toothpicks. So funny. All right, guys, if you know someone that could use this information and find it helpful, please forward it, share it, like it, do it, all those things. We're really working on getting out there more, because we know that this is helpful. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Seize the day, find your little quiet, happy spot for the day, and spend a minute there if that's all you get. A minute's more than you had 5 minutes ago. So take care. You totally got this. Peace out. Remember, all you can do is the next right thing. Take care. Bye bye.